Now, as they were traveling along, he entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister called Mary who was seated at the Lord's feet, listening to his word. But Martha was distracted with all her preparations. She came up to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the serving alone? Then tell her to help me." That's a weird little verse, man. Hey, Jesus, tell her to help me. Yeah, I have daughters, and sisters that's exactly how sisters are. It's okay to tell your dad, tell him to help me, but Jesus, come on. But the Lord answered and said to her, "Martha, Martha, 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 oh, Martha, Martha, you are worried and bothered about so many things, but only one thing is necessary. For Mary has chosen the good part, which shall not be taken away from her." Now, one thing is necessary is really important to remember it throughout my words, that you can't take away what Jesus said, but one thing is necessary. I think what we do with this verse is what we do in Christianity across the board, is we do exactly what I said. We give an excuse for, that's not important. What's important is that I do this. I know that pastors across the world have taken this, I will spend my time preparing the word and you do all the work. And I think that in each case, these are really big mistakes to say there is an either or situation here. And I think that we have either or'd this to the point of the church being ineffective in the world and making fun of us in every episodic TV show and making us look bad, because we are truly hypocrites if we take this verse and say that it's an either or. And to take this and say that as a operating procedure to be preparing dinner and serving your guests and going all out to give service to the Lord in this way is not necessary. I don't need to do that because of Mary and Martha. You want to be a Mary or you want to be a Martha? I think you have to discontinue believing in all the other verses in the Bible that say, I was hungry and you fed me not. There were 2 sons in a vineyard. One was working and one wasn't. Which one will be justified? There were 10 virgin bridesmaids. 5 will be entered in and 5 won't, because they worked hard to keep their oil lamp in their lamp. They even went and bought more. They prepared ahead of time. They took care of things. They took care of business. The branches in the tree that bear fruit and don't bear fruit, and all of the different parables, the talents, the guy who made more money and the guy who made none, and all of this stuff. You'd have to just say, okay, we can believe that this is an either or story, but then we have to just kind of take all those out. He just finished the Good Samaritan story, telling him what a real neighbor is, what real mercy is, what actual loving your neighbor looks like. So you have to take that out too, because that's preparing. That's doing for Jesus, right? And I think that this isn't in any way a do or die or either or, Mary or Martha. I think it's a really clearly, Jesus at this point in his ministry has turned towards Jerusalem. Now, it wasn't yesterday, but he turned towards Jerusalem. And if you know the story of he came from heaven, born of the Virgin Mary, that whole thing, he headed towards Jerusalem way back. But in his 33-year life and his 3-year ministry, he was out trying to win Israel. And then he turned towards Jerusalem. And on his journey, continued to do things, many things. And he's been exhaustively working. Jesus has been doing exactly what Martha did. He worked himself to the bone. I think that TV show, The Chosen, one of the things I appreciate the most about it is it really shows the human side of Jesus, that he worked to exhaustion. They're waiting for him. He shows up and he goes, "Man, I got to go to bed. I got to get some sleep." He's been healing since daybreak. He's been working to rebuke demons for individuals. Crowds of thousands gathered and waited because he would get to them all, right? He didn't just take a crowd like you and say, "Ooh, okay, good for you. Now where's the ping pong table?" Or, "Hey, where's lunch?" No, each one, "What do you need?" He was specific. People in there. He dealt with people individually. He dealt with people about their needs, about what he cared. And so on his way to Jerusalem, where he's the only one in the story that really gets the cross. And he knows he's going for it. And we know he knows. He bleeds blood later. He sweats blood later. See, he sweats blood with the intense nature of what he's about to go through. He knows what he's going to. And so it's more likely that he came to Mary and Martha's house as a safe haven to just sit down and do nothing. And Martha says, Jesus is here. We got to put on the dog. We got to put on the feast. We got to get it going. We got to, hey, call your friends, invite your friends. No. There's more. Today's not for that. And it's more likely that this situation in this house, Jesus' intention was to just sit and rest, not have a feast. And Martha just took off making a feast. You got to understand the cultural need for her to do that, the cultural responsibility for her to do that. And in fact, it was Mary who was avoiding all of the things she was raised to believe, because that's what a woman does. You come to my house, my job is set before me. I mean, they absolutely, dutifully, would look horrible if they didn't do what she was supposed to do. And Martha tried to point out, look what she's doing. Look what she's doing. She's violating everything being a woman in Jerusalem requires. And in their culture, for her to do that was to devalue Jesus, not value Jesus. But one thing happened. Mary read the tea leaves, or she heard the Spirit, or she knew the truth. And for the day, right now, this is what Jesus wants. Is me not to be a Jewish woman in Jerusalem, in Israel. He wants me to sit at his feet and just be with him. And it's all about what does Jesus want you to do? You see, culturally, you know what you're supposed to do. Being a woman or being a man, you know what the role is. You're supposed to know. Today, we're not so sure, but in their day, you know what you're supposed to be. You know what you're supposed to do. And Mary went against all of that. And Martha just simply was what she was supposed to be. And Jesus says, no. Mary chose the right portion for today. Because today, this is what I want. And I think in our lives, we don't always, I think that's maybe an epidemic of the church today, is we want all the blessings and we don't want any of the other side. We don't want anything else. Just give me the blessings, not the responsibility. I would really like it better, God, if you would just be in the center of my will, instead of me having to always be in the center of your will. I think people are that selfish today.